talk meets real experiences. So let's get into it. I have the wonderful Nia Satterfield Brown, okay? And she's stylish, she's educated, she's killing it in the game. And let me just get into some of her amazing things that she has done. She's a current senior at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She's a double major in media and journalism with exercise in sports science on the sports administration track, as well as completing her minor in Hispanic studies. She's also a natural storyteller. She loves the culture and sports. Some of the amazing things that she has done has been reporting for the UNC football and basketball team. She has internship at Slam Magazine, as well as the New York Yankees partnership and sales office. I mean, Nia, you're just killing the game. I mean, I hope I did you justice, sis.
You did. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and share with you.
Absolutely. And I think for you as an amazing young woman of color, I feel like your story is going to be able to inspire not only my followers, but yours and young girls that are looking up to get into the sports field or the journalism and media field. So thank you for being my first guest.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your journey into sports media. What inspired you, and how are you able to blend your love for storytelling and sports?
Yeah, so I've always been an athlete. I played several sports growing up, primarily track and field. I also played field hockey and volleyball and soccer, but track was my main sport. And I tore my hip flexor my 11th grade year, and I always just loved working out, so I kind of transitioned from being an athlete to just working out and stuff like that. And I also just loved to write. Being an only child, I just grew up writing and just writing many stories and stuff like that. So I honed my passion for writing into my love for sports. I mean, I grew up in the Bronx, New York, so I was an avid Yankees fan. My dad lives across the street from Yankee Stadium, so I'd always hear the games, everything like that. And also being a Knicks fan, Nets fan, Liberty fan, Giants fan, Bills. There's so much growing up in New York in the mecca of sports. There's so much rich culture there. So I was immersed in all of it. And coming to UNC, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to really maintain my love for storytelling and be able to do it on a whole nother level with sports media. And I just grew up always watching ESPN, ACC, and SEC, and all the different sports organizations. And I was like, there aren't many people that look like me. So I wanted to kind of change that and add to the depth and the amazingness that Black women can provide through sports storytelling, because we have a unique perspective into sharing the stories of athletes. So I wanted to go into that field, and now I'm in my senior year, and I'm like, wow, this is fun, and I want to do this for the rest of my life, so I'm super excited.
I love that. I think that a lot of people, when they get to college, they're like, what to do? So the fact that you already knew in hindsight, I love sports and I love storytelling, let me go into that field. And I love how you said New York, because my family's from New York as well, and my grandmother, a Jamaican woman, loves the New York Knicks. She used to have stickers all over her apartment, so I definitely know what it's like to grow up in that sports culture in New York. I spent a lot of my childhood summers there, so it really gets you enthralled of no matter who you're rooting for, baseball, football, you gotta be a sports fan.
For sure. And also just the aspect of connectivity. There's so many diverse groups in New York, but everyone can come together under their love for their team. And that's just super important, not just in New York, but across the world, across the country. There's just the connectivity and the ability to have that love and that passion for one team. I just love how it brings people together.
Awesome. So you had some amazing, impressive experiences, such as working with UNC Sports, working at Slam Magazine, New York Yankees. What has been the most eye-opening part of any of those experiences?
I would say the complexity and the attention to detail that goes into the making of a successful sports organization. I think with the Yankees, they have everyone has their different traditions and themes and what their brand image is. So with the Yankees, it's very traditional. They're at the top of the MLB for a reason. They've gotten there through years of hard work and really honing their tradition, their brand image. So being part of the sales side, I was able to see how we represent ourselves is super important. To our customers, people who have been fans for years, to our box office holders, to our suite holders, like just being able to really know like, okay, like XYZ needs to happen like at this time, like everything's like so important and like the way in which you do it. So that was just a cool experience. And being able to watch baseball on the side, like I had like an office that was like just looking a beautiful view of the stadium, so I absolutely loved that. And then I would just say it goes into UNC as well, and with Slam, just learning the importance of being successful and having things like having the respective brand image kind of shine a light on everyone. So with Slam, it was just like we're having fun, we're creative, we're leaning into our interests, and we're like really telling stories. Like we're having like building rapport with who you interview. Like I learned that at Slam, just being able to tell authentic stories and like have people realize, like, listen, like yes, like I'm an interviewer, but I don't want to be abrasive towards you. Like I'm a person that I want to relate to you as like a person, individual to individual. Because a lot of times I've seen just like people be abrasive, people be just like rude, just trying to like get like the dirty kind of athlete. When it's like it's not like that. And like everyone that I interview knows that like who I am as a person and what like my purpose is to tell their story in the most authentic way possible. And I also want to be able to highlight underrepresented narratives and be able to shine light on those. So it's just been fun being able to see the complexities that go into all different organizations with UNC. It's been super great being behind the scenes, being in the press conference rooms and everything, and learning just these athlete stories, the coaches' stories, and just like the familial atmosphere at UNC has been like super amazing. So I'm excited to head into my third year now because they know who I am now. They have that trust in me and like what my work is. So it ends up speaking for itself.
That's awesome. I mean, your self-awareness of going into these internships and knowing what is expected of that brand, but also of yourself. And you know, as a Black woman, you can't just go in there and do the bare minimum or just average. You gotta work twice as hard to get half of what they got. So I love that. So, in this male-dominated sports industry, how do you maintain your voice and navigate these challenges as well as opportunities as a Black woman?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. Like you said before, I have to work twice as hard, and I'm often questioned like, oh, like, do you actually know the answer to this? Do you know what this is? Like in football, they didn't think that I knew anything about football or basketball, and it's just like I have to prove them wrong. But I'm also just like proving myself right. Like I know why I'm here, so like you're not gonna make me question my belonging in this space. It's not like an imposter syndrome thing. Like no, like, I'm here. I would say my first year covering, which was my sophomore year at UNC, I was a bit timid and I didn't have imposter syndrome because to this day I'm still the only Black woman in the media room and in press conferences every week. So it can be difficult kind of just getting a seat every time, like establishing your role and your presence and just having like your voice be heard, but just asserting myself and like being like I'm here for a reason, I'm gonna do my work and it's gonna speak for itself. I'm not gonna let anyone else kind of tell me otherwise. That's been my go-to. But it's definitely a dominated industry and it can be hard sometimes to navigate through those challenges because you're feeling like I feel like everyone's staring at me. Like I can't mess up, I can't slip a word or anything. You have to like, be perfect, but you don't actually have to be perfect. You just have to be yourself, be authentic, and remember your why you're actually here, why you're doing this, and it's all gonna work out. And each time you do it, each time you speak, raise your hand, interview an athlete or a coach, like they're gonna respect you, and you know your stuff. You gotta come in there, kind of just like guns blazing, like hey, like, I'm comfortable in who I am. I know what I'm gonna do, and just do it. Like don't be scared. And I wish that someone had told little Nia that. So telling you guys to just go after it and be true in who you are.
Yeah, and I hope whoever's listening actually resonates with what you said because even myself, I have imposter syndrome. Going into my first job out of undergrad, I was like, I can't mess up. I can't do anything wrong. If I ask for help, then they're gonna not think I'm smart enough. Right. So it's that constant war in your head, but you gotta remind yourself, they picked me, I'm here. There's a reason. They saw something in me. So I love that you were able to share that about your experience. So let's talk about who is Nia outside of the classroom, okay? So why are you so passionate about storytelling and content creation? Because I've seen your work, and every time I see you post, I'm like, that's my girl, she's doing the thing. And some of your interviews I've seen with the coaches, I'm just like, the way that you command the room and answer these questions and ask them questions, it's remarkable, and I feel like you're gonna go very, very far. So share about that.
Yeah, I would say I'm just having fun with it, honestly, and just being authentic and really who you are has been my go-to. It can be difficult sometimes, you know. I don't want to have to like be perfect every single day, but I think that my passion for the game is what really drives me. I love being able to just write anything. Like if I'm not writing in articles, I'm writing in my journal, I'm writing in my calendar, I'm writing mini stories on the side, just making things up. I'm very just imaginative. So when I was little, I used to just like write mini stories to myself. When I went to sleepaway camp, every summer I would write my parents like letters, not just because like I really missed them. I was just like telling them about my day, telling them every single detail. I like to go into things with detail and conciseness, and just really getting into things. And it's actually funny because one of the Duke players that I interviewed was like, "You're like Nardwuar. Like, how do you find this information?" I'm like, "I do my research. Like, I like finding out things. I like being able to ask questions. Like, one thing about me, I'm going to ask a question, and I just want. I think that that kind of stems from like my ability to be a trustworthy source, to have athletes share personal things with me. I'm getting out of them questions that maybe my white counterparts aren't able to get out of them because they don't have that shared racial experience. So I think that I just have fun with it. You know, I might get some dirty looks on the side, but hey, like my story is going to end up great, and I'm here for a reason, and I know that it's going to bear such great fruits at the end. So I'm excited to just continue to build and build and build, and really grow and learn in the way. And I'm excited for what the future holds and all that.
I'm excited for you. I mean, we've just met over the summer, but the work that I've seen you already done, it's really amazing. So I'm happy to follow you on this journey as well as tell your story, obviously.
Yeah.
So what do you hope my listeners, your listeners, take away from your work, especially conversations around race and the sports culture?
I would say to not get discouraged, because there's going to be days, and not even just like with interacting with people, that you might feel discouraged, but it's discouraged with yourself. You might feel as though I could have done a better job with this, or I forgot this one thing, like it's gonna set me back. And it's just like, if you continue to show up every day and stay committed, like sports and just anything in life, honestly, it's going to be a committed journey. You have to show up every single day, and you're like doing half the battle if you do show up. So I would say that being committed and not getting frustrated is going to take you a long way, because that can set you back. And honestly, the world isn't going to care about like your emotions with things. Like, everyone has their own things going on, but your response to how you handle it, whether it's self-inflicted wounds or wounds that you have from others, like, you have to keep going. There's going to be days when you're tired, when you're just distraught, you have a lot of things to do, but continuing to just communicate, to stay positive, and remember your why, because that's what got you here, that's what's going to take you further. So that's what I would say.
That's amazing. I love that you said know your why. For me, it's always like, I wish someone told me everything that I'm learning now. As a first gen, you know, you're learning it as you go. And even getting my first job, it was like, what is my reason? Why am I here? And it's like, I have younger siblings that look up to me. You know, I want to inspire other young girls of color to look up to me and be like, if she's able to accomplish all of these stuff, so can I. So that's amazing.
I would also say give yourself grace.
Yes.
Like, that's been super important. There's days where it's like, Nia, like, you can't handle all of this right now, and it's okay to take a step back sometimes. It's okay to reflect. It's okay to just like take a breather and be like, hey, you know, I might have, you know, not done as well as I wanted to in this one area, but I can do better in this next area, and I can also show up the next day and do 2 times better. So it's like giving yourself grace each day. Like, that has been a game changer, because I want to be perfect. I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to I want to compete at the highest level. But sometimes, like, you have to also, what is it, the quote was like a glass half empty?
Yeah.
Like, you want to be at the top of your game. So just be aware that you can't do everything at once, that you will experience burnout. You will get more no's than yeses. And being able to grapple with that, and also just like for me personally, just talking to the Lord about it and my family, like what's meant for you will be for you. Like continue to give yourself grace and move forward. Show up the next day. There's always opportunity.
Word of the day is grace. Give yourself grace.
For sure.
So let's look into the future. What are your long-term goals in sports media and beyond, and how do you envision yourself making an impact?
Yeah. So before I got into Carolina, or once I got in, I was assured admit into the Hudson School of Media and Journalism, so I didn't have to apply into the school, thankfully. And that was just going to be it, like journalism and Spanish, like those are my two things. However, I added on the sports admin major my sophomore year because I wanted to get kind of the behind the scenes of the sports business. And now I actually co-founded my own Black sports business at Carolina Club. We actually have our first executive meeting today. So I want to be a multimedia storyteller, but also have that sports business understanding. So that comes with advertising, that comes with PR, marketing, a little bit of sports law, finance, economics. Like I think that by having that background, it kind of makes me a Swiss Army knife.
Yes.
And that I think that being a Swiss Army knife is super important because you're able to do a ton of different things. And it can be hard. Like econ is not my thing. Like I'm not a math girl at all. But I'm learning so much about the sports business side of things, and it's also why I was more open when I was working with the Yankees to be in sales, because you meet so many new people and you're able to really stay with, like my love will always be journalism, but I'm also able to hone in and learn more about new opportunities, new skill sets, new fields of work, and say, okay, like I can still have my core, but also have so many different other things that add into me. So that also comes with me having an internship with Wasserman. So I'm doing the University Equity and Impact internship, and I'm learning more about the sports business aspect on that side. So my goal is to continue to tell authentic stories, be a game changer in the industry, and interview athletes and sports professionals, and just add to the culture of the game. I think that culture and society and race, they all intersect so beautifully with sports, so being able to do that on a higher level, and as well as other sports as well. I love cricket. I say that Rob this summer learned how to play cricket. They told me it was like baseball. It's not like baseball, but I did play and I was kind of good. So I'm excited to learn more about the international sport business, as well as Formula One. I love racing, so it's primarily abroad, but they've had some Grand Prix in Miami and Las Vegas, in Austin this upcoming November, I believe. So I'm excited to just expand my knowledge that I've learned in football and basketball and baseball into other sports.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I will continue to follow you on this journey of rooting for you. I'm rooting for everyone Black.
Yes, period. Okay. Yes, got to.
So, second to last question. If you could give advice to young women, particularly women of color, looking to break into the sports media industry, what would it be?
I would say that it's important to know your stuff, and putting in the work. It's not going to be easy, whether that's athlete profiles, transcriptions, press conferences, knowing the history of a team or an athlete. I would say that knowing your stuff is incredibly important, because when you know your stuff, no one can question you. And you don't want to be questioned, because you're automatically going to be questioned once you walk into the room. And that happens anytime. Whenever I travel to a new place, I'm in a new group of reporters, that happens just off rip. So it's like, know your stuff so they can't even question you. And once you're there, like, don't question yourself, because it can get tough sometimes. You can feel like your heart beating fast, you're getting anxiety, you want to ask a question, And I struggled with that a lot when I was younger, and I still do to this day. I get nervous. It's okay to be nervous, but don't let that shadow what your why and like what you already know, I would say.
That's awesome. So, final little closing question.
Yeah.
If you could cover any major sports event or interview any athlete, past or present, who would it be and why?
Ooh, okay. Major sports event. It would definitely be like Formula One. Like I think that'd be so cool. Just like the environment of it, like the rush that you get. It's just an amazing industry. Or I would also say a football game, like abroad, like soccer. I went to a game when I was in London, and man, that fan base, that history, it's just so rich and beautiful. I was like, this is some cool stuff right here.
Don't let me go book a ticket now.
I thought that Final Four was great, you know, and the Super Bowl. Like they're great events, but abroad they do it differently. So that would be my event. And then who I would interview, past or present. I would have to say Kevin Durant.
Nice.
Yeah, I would have to say Kevin Durant. He's always just been like my GOAT player. Played for the Nets a couple years, and he's just a great person, great athlete as well. So I would love to just gain some insight from him. And yeah,
he's so humble.
So humble.
Non-problematic whatsoever.
Yes, there's just so many options, but yeah, that's definitely Kevin Durant for sure. It'll happen soon.
Oh yes, it will. Soon. Y'all heard it first on my podcast.
Right here. Okay. I haven't said that live ever. Here,
so if you hear her, KD, hit her up.
Hello.
All right. So that's a wrap for today's episode of She's Got Next. Thank you, Nia, for taking the time out of your day to sit down and share your wonderful journey. And everyone that's listening, make sure you're tuned in and always keep striving, keep shining, and remember, you've got next.
Thank you.
You did amazing.
That was